Happy Saturday, everybody. Meteorologist Hunter Forst here. We have our newest named system in the Gulf of Mexico right now, Tropical Storm Milton, which became a tropical storm earlier this afternoon after only being a tropical depression for a couple of hours. Sustained winds right now at about 40 miles per hour, gusting to about 50, moving fairly slowly to the north-northeast at about 3 miles per hour. But eventually, over the next couple of days, it's going to continue to pick up speed and intensify rather quickly as we get into Tuesday afternoon, looking like it'll reach major hurricane status, Category 3 storm, winds up to 115 miles per hour, making landfall along the Florida west coast Wednesday morning into Wednesday afternoon. Now we have two reliable models here in the yellow and in the red. The American model in yellow wants the storm to make landfall earlier in the day on Wednesday morning between 9, 10, 11 o'clock. Now this model puts the storm just to the north of Tampa, which isn't good news for that area because anywhere from Tampa down towards Sarasota over towards Naples, you have the winds coming ashore, and that makes the storm surge and puts Tampa and areas like Sarasota on the dirty side. So they'll have stronger winds, possibility for tornadoes and dangerous storm surge if this scenario was to play out. The same thing goes for the European model. It wants to make landfall again just to the north of Tampa, bringing in that storm surge, putting it on the dirty side, and bringing in those chances to see those isolated tornadoes with any tropical storm making landfall ashore. But this one's looking like it'll make landfall later in the day on Wednesday. But still, these two scenarios are not looking good for that area. Of course, it's still fairly early, so things could shift. The models could go more down to the south. They could go more up towards the north. These are just two models that we're looking at right now. But again, the cone is wide, anywhere from the Big Bend down to basically the Florida Keys. So it could really make landfall anywhere here along the west coast of Florida. So still something they're going to have to watch for the next couple of days. The good news is the storms are going to make their way out towards the middle of the Atlantic. Not much of an issue here, just that we could see some increased surf as we go into the middle of next week. As we take a look at the spaghetti plots, again, anywhere from Tampa, just to the north of Tampa, down towards the Keys is where the storm could make landfall. So not necessarily will it make landfall to the north of Tampa, but some of the models are indicating that's a possibility. But still, as we go throughout the next couple of days, we'll continue to see shifts in these models, and it's just something they're going to have to look out for the next couple of days. But that's not the only thing we're looking at in the Atlantic right now. We have Hurricane Kirk and Hurricane Leslie, a Category 3 for Kirk and a Category 1 for Leslie. And we also have this area in yellow, which has a 30% chance of development within the next week or so. Hurricane Kirk, major hurricane, 120 mile per hour winds. Luckily, no threat to us here in the United States, but it could, once it becomes a post-tropical storm, make its way into Europe, bringing them some gusty winds and some heavier rain. We have Hurricane Leslie, which is going to continue to push off towards the west-northwest at about 8 miles per hour. Good news is it's going to continue to weaken as it makes its way into next week, down into a tropical storm, and eventually continue to weaken as we go out through the end of next week. Now, as we take a look at the tropical activity, the peak was way back in September. About September 10th is the peak of hurricane season. Right now, we are in the first week of October, so it's continuing to go down, the frequency of storms. But again, the tropics are still really busy right now, and the end of the season doesn't end until the end of November. So we still have plenty of time to continue seeing these storms starting to pop up here. So it's always important to check back with us here on 13 News Now.